Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. Today, we're delving into a fascinating topic in the world of rare coins, the Washington quarter dollar. But not just any Washington quarters, we're focusing on the ones that have fetched substantial sums at auction. Let's jump right in. First, let's talk about one of the most captivating Washington quarter dollars, the 1969 large date variety without a mint mark, especially those in fine condition. This particular coin has garnered significant attention from collectors and has become one of the most sought-after quarters of its time. Introduced in 1932, the Washington quarter was created to celebrate George Washington's 200th birthday. The coin's design has remained largely unchanged since then, featuring a left-facing portrait of Washington by sculptor John Flanagan on the obverse, and an eagle perched on an olive branch on the reverse. By 1969, this design was still circulating, though it was a time of great transition in both the U.S. Mint's production methods and the broader economy. The year 1969 was pivotal in U.S. history, marked by political unrest, the race to the moon, and the rising influence of inflation. Despite these challenges, the U.S. Mint continued producing coins, and the Washington quarter from this period stands out due to its distinct large date style, which is a key feature that collectors now seek. In fine condition, the 1969 Washington quarter with the large date and no mint mark has become highly prized at auctions. Its value is directly linked to its rarity in higher quality states, as collectors often search for clean, well-struck examples. This coin can command prices as high as $60,000, with those in uncirculated condition going for even more. The coin's market value tends to fluctuate, but as its rarity increases, so does its appeal to serious collectors. The value of the Washington quarter is also driven by the demand for coins from this era, particularly those with unique production quirks. The absence of a mint mark combined with the large date format makes the 1969 quarter especially desirable to collectors. While many coins from the 1960s are overlooked in favor of more famous pieces, this particular quarter stands out as an exception. It serves as a reminder that not all coins are created equally, even if they were in circulation at the same time. Although over 40 million 1969 Washington quarters were minted, very few have survived in excellent or fine condition, making those that remain highly valuable. Collectors particularly pay attention to the large date format of the 1969 quarter. The numbers in the date are noticeably larger than those found on other years, a subtle difference that has made it a distinguishing feature for many. This interest extends beyond the design itself, as collectors also value minting errors and unusual variations. While the 1969 large date Washington quarter doesn't feature any significant minting errors, the combination of the large date and absence of a mint mark makes it a unique and desirable piece in the coin's history. Coins from the 1960s with distinctive variations have long been prized by collectors, and this quarter fits that niche perfectly. Additionally, its fine condition makes it accessible to collectors who may not be able to afford higher-grade examples, offering an excellent entry point for those just beginning to explore the world of numismatics. Next, let's take a look at the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. Similar to 1969, the 1979 quarter has also become a notable coin among collectors, although its rarity and condition differ. This particular coin, in good condition with a large date and no mint mark, has caught the attention of collectors thanks to its distinct features. The late 1970s were a time of economic uncertainty, U.S., with stagflation causing rising unemployment and inflation. In response, the government began implementing various policies to tackle these issues, which also affected coin production and design. The 1979 Washington quarter was minted during this transitional period. While it wasn't particularly rare at the time, certain features of this coin now make it stand out in today's market. The design, created by John Flanagan, remained the same, honoring the first president of the United States. However, the economic environment in which these coins were produced makes them particularly interesting to modern collectors. Despite its relatively high mintage compared to other rare coins, the 1979 Washington quarter with the large date has gained considerable value in the numismatic community. In good condition, this quarter can fetch prices upwards of $45,000, depending on factors such as the market and the coin's specific attributes. The coin's appeal lies in the combination of its unusually large date and the absence of a mint mark. These seemingly subtle differences have become highly sought-after characteristics among collectors interested in specific variations of coins from this era. Many collectors are willing to pay a premium for well-preserved examples, especially if they are free from excessive wear. Although over 40 million 1979 Washington quarters were minted, making it a relatively common coin in circulation, the large date format and lack of a mint mark make it a more desirable collectible. While the coin isn't rare in an overall sense, its distinctive features make it stand out among others minted in the same year. The obverse still features the familiar portrait of George Washington, and the reverse depicts an eagle holding an olive branch. However, it's the large date format that makes this particular coin so intriguing. The bold numerals in the date distinguish it from other quarters in the same series, making it a prized find for collectors who focus on late 20th century U.S. coinage. Collectors show particular interest in Washington quarters from this period, especially those with unique design traits like the large date. While the 1979 Washington quarter doesn't contain major mint errors or flaws, the absence of a mint mark and the variation in the date size make it stand out from many other coins of the era. The fact that this coin is in good condition, despite its high mintage, further increases its desirability. Coins in good condition are often more accessible and affordable compared to those in pristine or uncirculated states, but they still hold significant market value because of their unique characteristics. This combination of rarity, design, and condition makes the 1979 Washington quarter an appealing choice for collectors looking to add something special to their collections. Next up, let's take a look at the 1974 Washington quarter dollar. This coin, introduced in 1932 to mark the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, has long been a staple of American coinage. Over the years, its design has undergone slight tweaks, but the iconic figure of George Washington has remained unchanged, symbolizing the nation's respect for its first president. By 1974, however, the country was navigating economic challenges, largely influenced by inflation and the lingering effects of the Vietnam War. The 1974 Washington quarter was part of the standard series issued by the U.S. Mint, with collectors often showing interest in the different types produced each year. Like many coins from the 1970s, there were some subtle variations and errors that piqued collectors' attention, and the 1974 large date quarter is one of the more desirable examples. The coin features the familiar profile of George Washington on the obverse, along with the inscriptions Liberty, the year of issue, and the motto In God We Trust. On the reverse, an eagle in flight clutches an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by the words United States of America and E Pluribus Unum. This design, created by John Flanagan, has remained largely the same since its inception. What sets the 1974 Washington quarter apart is its large date, a feature introduced in this year and not seen in earlier quarters. This change was part of an adjustment in the minting process, where the size of the numerals in the date was increased. The result is a more noticeable, easier to spot large date that has become a key identifying characteristic for collectors. When discussing the large date variation, collectors are typically referring to the 1974 quarter with this distinctive feature. The 1974 Washington quarter had a substantial mintage, with over 860 million coins produced across multiple minting facilities. Due to this large mintage, most 1974 quarters aren't considered particularly rare. However, the 1974 large date version without a mint mark, especially in fine condition, has become highly sought after, both as an error coin and as part of a Washington quarter series. While the overall mintage was high, the 1974 large date quarter's appeal lies in its unique design and condition. In fine condition, the coin shows moderate wear but retains clear features that make it easily recognizable. Now, let's talk about market value. A 1974 Washington quarter in fine condition can be valued at around $77,000, though the price may vary depending on the market and auction demand. Coins with additional features, such as minting errors or those in better grades, can command significantly higher prices. Some auction records have shown well-preserved examples fetching up to $82,000 or more. The value of these coins can fluctuate with the demand among collectors, but the 1974 large date remains an important piece within the Washington quarter series, continuing to hold its place as a valuable addition to any collection. Additionally, the 1974 quarter has a number of other interesting variations and errors that further increase its appeal to collectors, such as double dies or die cracks, common in some 1974 quarters. While the large date isn't technically an error, it's a unique variation that many collectors seek, especially in higher quality specimens. Coins in fine condition are generally more affordable but still desirable, especially for those looking to complete a series. For coins in higher grades, such as extra fine or AU, almost uncirculated, prices can be significantly higher, particularly if the coin has been well preserved. Collectors appreciate the Washington quarter not only for its historical connection but also for the variety it offers in terms of mint marks, design elements, and production errors. As the market for error coins and unique variations grows, the 1974 Washington quarter in fine condition remains a great investment for serious coin enthusiasts. Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter dollar was produced during a pivotal moment in U.S. history. The country was facing a major coin shortage due to silver depletion, which led to the decision to eliminate silver from circulating coinage. In response to rising costs and the need for more cost-effective coin production, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition for quarters and dimes beginning in 1965. This marked the beginning of a new era in U.S. coinage. While the 1965 Washington quarter wasn't initially seen as particularly special, the large date variety has become a sought-after coin by collectors. The switch to a clad composition, coupled with the large date design, gives this coin historical significance, especially when considering the broader economic and numismatic context of the time. As with other Washington quarters, the 1965 design features John Flanagan classic rendering of George Washington on the obverse. The reverse design, showing the eagle in flight, has remained unchanged since the 1932 debut of the coin. What makes the 1965 Washington quarter particularly interesting for collectors is the large date variety. In 1965, the U.S. Mint produced two variations of the quarter, one with a smaller date and one with a larger date. The large date was minted for a brief period before being replaced by the smaller date design. This quick transition gives the large date version a unique place in the series, as it is rarer than the more common smaller date design. The total mintage of 1965 Washington quarters was incredibly high, with over 1.8 billion coins struck across all minting facilities. However, the large date version is rarer, with estimates suggesting that only a fraction of these coins were struck with the large date. While the 1965 large date is certainly not the rarest coin in the Washington quarter series, it has gained attention from collectors for its role in the transition from silver to clad coinage and its distinctive large date design. In extra fine condition, a 1965 Washington quarter large date without mint mark is valued at approximately $39,000. This price can rise if the coin is particularly well preserved or if it is sold through a high-profile auction. Coins in higher grades, such as AU or MS Mint State, can command much higher prices, often exceeding $45,000 or more. Some auction sales for 1965 large date quarters have reached as high as $55,000 or more. When in excellent condition, the market value of the 1965 Washington quarter is driven not just by its rarity but also by the increased interest in the transition from silver to clad coinage. With the U.S. Mint's move away from using silver in most circulating coins, the 1965 Washington quarter marks a significant change in American coinage history. Though the 1965 Washington quarter is most notable for its large date design, it also has a range of potential errors that attract collectors. Double die errors, where the design appears multiple times on the coin, and die cracks are some of the common issues found in 1965 quarters. These errors, particularly when found on the large date version, can increase the value of the coin substantially. Collectors are especially drawn to coins with high-quality strikes or unique variations. A 1965 Washington quarter with a sharp strike and clear large date design is in high demand, particularly from those interested in completing a series or acquiring historical coins. Next, let's take a look at the 1967 Washington quarter, specifically the large date variant without a mint mark. Though this coin may seem like a typical find in your pocket change, its value has grown significantly in recent years, particularly in certain conditions. In this discussion, we'll explore the historical background of this coin, its design, mintage, and the factors contributing to its increased worth today. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to mark the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. The coin's design has remained largely unchanged over the years, featuring a portrait of Washington by artist John Flanagan on the front and an eagle on the reverse. However, between 1965 and 1967, the U.S. minting process went through a transitional phase due to a nationwide silver shortage. In 1965, the U.S. government took the major step of removing silver from most circulating coins, except for silver dollars and half dollars. Before this change, the Washington quarter was composed of 90% silver, but post-1965, quarters were minted using a copper-nickel alloy, containing only a small amount of silver. This shift impacted the coin's value as a precious metal, making it less desirable for collectors who sought silver content. The 1967 Washington quarter, like those minted in 1965 and 1966, was struck using this new copper-nickel composition, meaning it contains no silver. However, what makes the 1967 coin stand out is the large date version, which features a noticeably larger date compared to the standard variety. This distinctive feature caught the attention of coin enthusiasts and has become a sought-after characteristic among collectors. On the obverse of the 1967 Washington quarter, you'll find a left-facing portrait of George Washington, nearly identical to the one originally designed by Flanagan in 1932. The word liberty is inscribed above Washington's head, while In God We Trust appears to the left, and the year 1967 is displayed below. On the reverse, an eagle is perched on an olive branch, with the inscription United States of America above and E pluribus unum below. The large date variety of the 1967 quarter resulted from a change in the production process, where a larger die was used to mint the coins, making the date appear more prominent compared to earlier quarters. While over 1.5 billion 1967 Washington quarters were produced, this doesn't necessarily mean that the coin is abundant in high-quality condition. The introduction of the copper-nickel alloy led to many of these coins being spent as regular currency, which means fewer were kept in excellent condition. As a result, well-preserved examples of the 1967 large date quarter have become relatively rare. Despite its large production numbers, the 1967 Washington quarter with the large date, even in circulated condition, can be worth up to $75,000, depending on its wear and overall state. In extra fine condition, it could be valued at over $78,000, and coins in uncirculated or mint state might fetch $85,000 or more at auction. The high value, particularly in circulated condition, is largely due to the limited number of these coins in higher grades and the strong demand for the large date variety among collectors. While the 1967 Washington quarter doesn't have any significant minting errors, the large date version has gained attention because of its distinct design. Coins with unique design features or variations often attract the interest of collectors, making the 1967 large date quarter particularly sought after. Additionally, many collectors are drawn to coins from the 1960s because of the historical significance tied to the removal of silver from U.S. currency. As silver prices soared in the 1970s and 1980s, collectors and investors started paying more attention to the numismatic value of coins like the Washington quarter, which added to its appeal. Thanks for watching, and happy collecting.